This for the ones who made it. They don't see the nights when the nightmares creep, or the weight of the past when it cuts too deep. But you walk with a purpose, head held high, proof that a fighter never truly dies. We don't forget, but we learn how to live. Turn the hurt into hope. Got so much to give. For every name that the world tried to fade, we write them in flames. Let them shine, let them stay. No more silence, no more shame. We ain't victims, we reclaim our name. For the lost, for the hurt, for the ones still here. This is more than a song, it's the anthem of the year. We rise, we fight, we stand, we heal, we break those chains. Yeah, the pain is real, but we stronger than the scars, stronger than the fears. This is for the ones who made it. The survivors still rise. Yeah, the survivors still rise. The survivors still rise. The survivors still rise. This for the ones who made it. The Survivor Series. This for the ones who made it. Every morning feels the same. Another round of doubt and blame. The world says I'm supposed to quit, but I won't listen, I won't sit. They want me stuck in a loop of fear, but I'm done with the noise, it's crystal clear. I won't let the past define my road. I'm taking the wheel, I'm in control. I'm gonna flip the script, rewrite the scene, change the story, chase my dreams. No more waiting for things to change. I'm stepping up, I'm breaking the chains. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. They say you're too broken to rise again, but every crack lets the light in. Every battle I fought makes me strong. I'm not backing down, I'm pushing on. I won't let the past define my road. I'm taking the wheel, I'm in control. I'm gonna flip the script, rewrite the scene, change the story, chase my dreams. No more waiting for things to change. I'm stepping up, I'm breaking the chains. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. No more fear, no more doubt, I'm rewriting my story now. Watch me rise, watch me fly, I'm taking control, no compromise. I'm gonna flip the script, rewrite the scene, change the story, chase my dreams. No more waiting for things to change. I'm stepping up, I'm breaking the chains. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. Oh, flip the script, I flip the script. Flip the script, watch me flip the script, I'll be the same. Watch me flip the script. I'll never be the same. We rise, we fight, we stand, we heal, we break those chains. Yeah, the pain is real, but we stronger than the scars, stronger than the fears. This is for the ones who made it. The Survivor Series. Yeah, the Survivor Series. This for the ones who made it. This for the ones series. The Survivor Series. I know the dark can feel like it's endless, trapped in a war, no exit, defenseless. But every wound got a story to tell. Every tear that you shed, man, it's part a spell. They said you break, but look where you stand. Took every hit, but you still made a plan. They counted you out, but you flipped the page. Turned pain into power, now you light up the stage. Yeah, we've been through the fire, through the storm, through the fight, but we never let the darkness take away our light. Every heartbeat is a battle, every step is a win. We survivors, yeah, we rise again. We rise, we fight, we stand, we heal, we break those chains. Yeah, the pain is real, but we stronger than the scars, stronger than the fears. This is for the ones who made it, the Survivor Series.
You're listening to Sunday Evening Reset with Kyle Fields, a One Love media production.
Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Evening Reset. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. If you've tuned in before, you know we dive deep into life's most challenging moments, and tonight, we're going to talk about something that's close to all of us, no matter where we're at in life. Tonight's topic is conquering giants. Now, before you imagine me talking about big mythical creatures or some sort of Bible story about a young shepherd slinging a stone at a giant, though don't worry, we're definitely going there. Let's start with what's real in our lives. What are the giants in your life? I want you to think about it for a moment. We all have them. The giants. Those towering obstacles that seem to stand in our way, daring us to challenge them, yet making us question if we're even capable of facing them. They can show up as life's biggest struggles: a health diagnosis, a financial crisis, losing a job, a relationship that's falling apart. These giants are the ones we can't ignore because they demand our attention. But sometimes, the giants are quieter, more subtle ones. They're the everyday battles that chip away at us. The giants that don't scream for attention, but are like constant whispers, reminding us of our insecurities, our doubts, and our fears. Maybe your giant looks like self-doubt, the nagging voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough, or that you'll never be able to achieve your dreams. It's that voice that's so loud you begin to believe it, even though you know it's not true. Maybe your giant is fear. It's the feeling that paralyzes you in the face of risk, the fear of failure or rejection or of not measuring up. The kind of fear that convinces you it's better to stay small and safe rather than take that big leap. You know it's irrational, but still, it holds you back. It could even be the giant of procrastination. The monster that convinces you that you don't have to do things right now, or that tomorrow will be just fine. We know how that works out, don't we? Suddenly, you're 5 years down the road, looking back on dreams you haven't even started to pursue. But here's the kicker. This is exactly why we need to talk about these giants today. Because they're real, and they're affecting how we show up in life. And just like any giant, they can be taken down. It might not happen overnight, and it certainly won't be easy. But just because the giant seems overwhelming doesn't mean it's invincible. In fact, the most powerful thing you can do is acknowledge these giants. The moment you name them is the moment you take some of their power. I'm not talking about just acknowledging the fear or the doubt or the procrastination. I mean naming the exact thing that's standing in your way. The specific challenge that's making you second guess yourself. The thing that makes you want to hide under the covers and say, not today. It's not easy to confront our giants, but it is powerful. Let's talk for a second about why they're so tricky. Giants aren't just big, scary things that we run into. They also exist in the spaces where we have unfinished business. It's the trauma we haven't healed from, the old wounds we've ignored, or the patterns that we've failed to break. And these giants get bigger and stronger the longer we let them grow. But it's not just about confronting the giants. We need to understand the root of them. Where do they come from? How did they get so big? We all have that one voice in our heads, right? The one that tells us we'll never be enough, or that we're not capable of facing the challenges ahead of us. That voice might come from someone else, maybe something someone said to you years ago. Or maybe it's the consequence of something you experienced as a child. Maybe it's the culture we've been brought up in, telling us that we need to achieve more, look different, or be someone we're not in order to be worthy. So, the first step in conquering giants is figuring out where they've been fed. What's your story? What's the story you've been telling yourself about that giant? Has it been fed by past experiences? By things you've seen or heard from others? By the things you've allowed to define you over time? This is where the power lies. We don't conquer our giants by pretending they don't exist. We face them head on, and we do it by changing the narrative. We rewrite the story that was once told to us, and we take control of it. There's something to be said about facing our giants. But let me tell you, it's not all about the fight. Yes, we battle, but sometimes the fight isn't about brute strength. It's about endurance. It's about standing firm, even when everything in you is telling you to run. And here's the thing. You might not win in one big swoop. Some battles take time. But you know what? That's okay. What's important is that you keep showing up, that you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when the giant seems impossible to defeat. So here's a quick mental exercise for you. I want you to close your eyes, if you can, and think of your biggest giant right now. What is it? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's habit. Maybe it's a person or a situation that you've been avoiding for far too long. Now, picture that giant. See it standing before you. Imagine how it makes you feel. Now picture yourself standing up to it. Not with force, not with anger, but with quiet determination. See yourself taking steps towards it. And with every step, see that giant start to shrink. Not all at once, but gradually. Maybe it's a series of small, deliberate steps. Maybe it's the courage to say, I'm not afraid of you anymore. Watch as the giant starts to crumble bit by bit. You don't have to defeat it all at once, just a little at a time. Now open your eyes. That's your first victory right there. The act of confronting it, naming it, choosing to move forward instead of staying stuck. You've already started to conquer your giant. That's what we'll be talking about today. How to face, fight, and ultimately conquer those giants that seem to stand in the way of everything you want. It's going to take some time. It's going to take courage. But most importantly, it's going to take you showing up each day, ready to take the next step. So stick around, because in the next segment, we're going to talk about how you can begin breaking down those giants with practical, everyday strategies that will keep you moving forward. We'll be right back. All right, before we dive into the deeper side of tonight's conversation, let's take a moment to look at how the theme of conquering giants plays out in pop culture. Because let's be real, some of the best life lessons come wrapped in a great story. And for this one, baby, we're throwing it back to 1988, the classic Big, starring Tom Hanks. Now, if you've never seen Big, first of all, I need you to fix that immediately. But let me give you the rundown. The movie follows Josh Baskin, a 12-year-old kid who, after making a wish on a fortune teller machine, wakes up in the body of a full-grown adult. Suddenly, this child is navigating the giant world of adulthood, getting a job, dealing with responsibilities, and learning what it really means to grow up. And while it's a light-hearted comedy, Big is really a movie about facing life's challenges before we feel ready. Let's be honest. How many of us have felt thrown into situations before we were ready? Starting a new job and feeling like you have no idea what you're doing, being hit with unexpected responsibilities and wondering who thought you were qualified for this, or facing a challenge that makes you feel small, even though you know you have to step up. Josh in Big goes through all of that. He feels unqualified, overwhelmed, and way out of his depth. But he figures it out. And that's the thing about conquering giants. Nobody ever feels ready for the battles they face. But just like Josh, you learn as you go. You grow into the role. You take the first step, and then the next. And suddenly, You're handling things you never thought you could. One of the biggest giants we face in life, the fear of not being enough. Josh's entire story in Big is him realizing that he doesn't have to be perfect. He just has to show up. And by the time he does get the chance to go back to being a kid, he's changed. He's grown. He's learned that stepping into the unknown isn't as terrifying as it seems. And that's a message that we can all take from this. So, as we keep going tonight, I want you to think about this. What's the giant in your life that you've been avoiding because you don't feel ready? Maybe it's time to stop waiting until you feel big enough to take the next step and just take it. Because just like Josh Baskin in Big, you might already be more ready than you think. Welcome back to Sunday Evening Reset, where we're diving into the topic of conquering giants tonight. In the first segment, we started by naming the giants in our lives, those fears, doubts, and obstacles that seem insurmountable. And then we got to hear and talk about Josh Baskin from Big, who started facing challenges before he felt he was ready. But now, we're going to get into some inspiration from one of the most iconic stories in history. The battle between David and Goliath. We all know the story. David, a young shepherd boy, is chosen by God to defeat Goliath, a giant who had terrorized the Israelite army. It's a story that's been told for thousands of years. But today, I want to take a closer look at it and see what it can teach us about conquering our own giants. So let's start by setting the stage. Picture this. The story takes place in the valley of Elah, where the Israelites were lined up for battle against the Philistines. The Philistines had a champion. That champion's name? A giant named Goliath. The Bible tells us he was over 9 foot tall, armored head to toe, and armored with a spear that weighed as much as a large javelin. Goliath would step out every day for 40 days and challenge the Israelites to send someone to fight him one-on-one. The stakes were high. If Goliath won, the Israelites would become slaves to the Philistines. If someone from the Israelite side defeated him, they would win the war. But here's the thing. Goliath just wasn't a giant in size. He was a giant in intimidation. His presence alone struck fear into the hearts of the Israelite soldiers. Day after day, they cowered before him, unsure of how they could ever take him down. Sound familiar? Maybe not a 9-foot warrior, but we've all faced challenges that seemed just as overwhelming. Things that seemed like they would crush us if we even tried to face them. Then enters David. David wasn't a seasoned warrior. He wasn't a part-time Israelite armyman. He was a young shepherd, the youngest of 8 brothers, who was tasked with watching over his father's sheep. But when he heard about Goliath's challenge, something stirred within him. While the rest of the army was paralyzed by fear, David saw an opportunity. See, David didn't see Goliath as an obstacle. He saw him as an opportunity to showcase God's power. David went to King Saul and said, "Let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him." Saul, of course, was skeptical. He told David, "Look, you're just a boy, and that Goliath had been a warrior since his youth." But David replied with a story of his own. He told Saul that as a shepherd, he had fought off lions and bears to protect his sheep. He said, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." And here's the key. David knew who had given him the victory in the past. He knew that the same God who had delivered him from the lions and bears would deliver him from this giant. David didn't rely on his own strength. He relied on God's powers. I want to pause here for a second to think about that for a moment. David didn't need armor. He didn't need a sword. All he needed was a sling and a stone and his feet. And let me tell you, there's a powerful lesson here. Faith in God's power is bigger than any giant we face. When we are facing something that seems insurmountable, we don't need to rely on our own strength. We need to remember that the same God who helped David conquer those lions and bears is the same God who can help us overcome our giants. So David went out to face Goliath, armed with only his sling and 5 smooth stones. When Goliath saw him, he laughed, mocked David, saying, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" But David's response was bold. He said, "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." And then, the moment of truth. David took one of those stones, placed it in his sling, whipped it above his head and let it fly. The stone hit Goliath right between the eyes, and the giant fell to the ground, dead. It wasn't a sword that brought down Goliath. It wasn't strength or sheer force. It was David's faith and the power of God working through him. Now let's break this down and apply it to our lives. First, notice that David wasn't afraid to face the giant. Fear didn't paralyze him. Even though he was a young boy standing against a seasoned warrior that was 2 feet bigger than Shaq. The fear that could have easily overwhelmed him was silenced by his trust in God. And that's where the battle begins for us too. We have to choose to face our giants instead of running away. It's easy to avoid confrontation, to stay comfortable in the safety of the sheepfold. But growth happens when we face the challenges head on. Second, David didn't try to fight Goliath using the tools of the world. He didn't try to wear the king's armor. He didn't try to use a sword or a shield. Instead, he used what he was familiar with, a sling, the weapon that helped him protect his sheep. That's another key lesson. We don't have to be someone else to conquer our giants. God has equipped us with what we need already. sometimes the greatest tool for battle are the ones we've overlooked or taken for granted. Your experiences, your talents, and your faith are the tools God will use to help you defeat your giants. Finally, David's victory didn't come from his strength. It came from his dependence on God's power. When David stood before Goliath, he didn't boast about his own abilities. He boasted in the power of the Lord. And that's the ultimate takeaway from this story. It's not about us. It's about the power of God working through us. Now, how do we take this story and apply it to our giants today? I want you to remember these key principles when you're facing something overwhelming, something that feels like it's too big to overcome. Number one, God has already been faithful to you in the past. He's helped you through difficult times before, and he'll do it again. Just like David, remember the lions and the bears in your life. Those moments when God showed up and gave you victory. Number two, don't face the giant alone. Just like David didn't rely on his own strength, you don't have to do it alone either. God is with you, and when you're feeling weak, he's your strength. Number three, use what you have. You don't need to be someone else to defeat your giant. Trust in the tools and the gifts God has already given you. Number four, depend on God's power, not your own. It's okay to feel small in front of a giant, but what's important is that you lean into God and you trust that He will show up for you in ways that you could never imagine. That's the victory. That's how you conquer the giants in your life. And just like David, you'll find that what seemed like a battle you couldn't win becomes a story of triumph through the power of God. Let's take a break real quick, but when we return, we'll talk about some practical ways to face the giants in our lives and to take them down, one step at a time. Welcome back to Sunday Evening Reset. In the last segment, we explored the powerful story of David and Goliath and how God can help us conquer the giants in our lives. But we all know that the giants we face aren't always the massive, dramatic battles like the one David faced. Often, our giants we encounter in our everyday lives are more subtle, persistent, and quite frankly, annoying and exhausting. So how do we face these daily giants? The giants of stress, anxiety, self-doubt, setbacks, exhaustion. Let's break it down. In this segment, I want to give you some practical steps to help you fight the giants that show up every day in your life. These aren't one-time fixes, but rather tools you can use day by day, moment by moment, to stay focused, to stay grounded, and most importantly, to keep moving forward. First, let's talk about recognizing the giants in our lives. We often think of giants as huge, life-altering problems, but in reality, giants can be sneaky. They can show up in the form of negative self-talk, unrealistic expectations, overwhelming responsibilities, or fear of failure. The giants might not always be scary, but rather an insidious voice. The giants might not always be a big scary monster standing in front of us, but rather an insidious voice in your head telling you that you're not enough or that you'll never succeed. The key to facing these daily giants is to recognize them for what they are. When you identify your giants, you can start to dismantle the power they have over you. Like I said in the beginning, naming the giant takes away its power. When you acknowledge what you're up against, you stop seeing it as something insurmountable. Whether it's the giant of fear, the giant of doubt, the giant of busyness, you name it, and you take the first step in overcoming it. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're facing the giant of overwhelm. The giant feels like everything is happening at once, and it's too much to handle. Maybe you've got a long to-do list, family obligations, work stress, personal issues, all piling up. It can feel impossible to keep going. But here's the thing. Overwhelm is a mental state, not a physical reality. It's not the number of tasks you have, but the way you're perceiving them. The first practical step in facing this giant is getting organized. Break things down into smaller, manageable tasks. Prioritize them and tackle one at a time. Don't let the weight of everything crush you. Remember that David didn't go into battle with Goliath all at once. He took a step forward. He used a slingshot and focused on that one moment. Next, let's talk about preparing for battle. Because facing giants isn't just about identifying them. It's about preparing yourself for the fight against them. And I'm not talking about going out and buying new armor. Please do not let me be your excuse for buying stuff you don't need. I'm talking about equipping yourself with the mental and emotional tools you need. One of the best ways to prepare for the giants is to develop a morning routine. Starting your day with intention and focus sets the tone for the rest of the day. Or just a quiet moment of reflection while you're drinking your coffee. Taking that time in the morning to center yourself can make a world of difference. Here's a practical tip. Make your morning routine non-negotiable. I know, we all have days when it feels like it's impossible to get out of bed, or when we hit a snooze button a few too many times. But when you skip this time of preparation, you're stepping into the battle unarmed. Starting your day with gratitude and positive affirmations can help you face whatever challenges come your way. Now, let's move on to another important tool in fighting giants. Building a support system. No one can face their giants alone. Even David had God by his side. And while our battles might not always be as dramatic as his, we need our own support systems too. Whether it's friends, family, mentors, or even a therapist. Having people to lean on can make all the difference. A great practical step is to identify your battle buddies. Those are people who can encourage you, pray with you, and remind you of your strengths when you feel like giving up. These people can offer perspective when you feel overwhelmed, and sometimes all it takes is a quick text or phone call to remind you that you don't have to fight your giants alone. Speaking of perspective, that brings me to the next point. Change your perspective on the giants themselves. This may sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. Sometimes we view giants as things to be feared, things that stand in our way. But what if, instead of seeing your giants as obstacles, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth? David didn't see Goliath as something to fear. He saw the giant as an opportunity to show God's power. And that's how we need to approach our giants. When you face a giant, don't just see it as something to overcome. See it as an opportunity for growth, for strength, and for a deeper relationship with God. It's in these struggles and the challenges that we build resilience and character. Another way to shift your perspective is by remembering your past victories. If you've faced giants before and come out victorious, remind yourself of those moments. Keep a victory journal where you document the times you've overcome obstacles. When a new giant shows up, you can look back and remember that you faced tough situations before and you came through. It builds confidence in your ability to keep going. And finally, let's talk about perseverance. The battle with the giant isn't always quick. Sometimes we wish for an instant victory, but life's giants don't always fall in a single moment. It's the long, hard fight that matters, the persistence, the decision to get up every day and face the challenge again and again. And just like David, sometimes the battle is a process, not a one and done moment. Here's the truth. You won't win every battle in one day. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes small victories that add up over time. Don't get discouraged if the giant doesn't fall immediately. Keep showing up, keep fighting, and keep trusting God is working in the process. Just like David didn't defeat Goliath with one stone, you won't defeat your giants just like David defeated Goliath. You too will defeat your giants. But each step forward brings you closer to victory. So let's review the practical steps we've talked about for fighting life's daily giants. Number 1, recognize and name your giants. Don't let them control you. Number 2, prepare for battle by starting your day with a solid routine that centers around you. Number 3, build a support system. You don't have to fight alone. Number 4, change your perspective. See giants as opportunities for growth. Number 5, remember past victories. You've overcome it before, you can do it again. Number 6, persevere. Keep fighting, even when the battle takes time. When you implement these steps, you'll find that your giants aren't so impossible to conquer. It's all about mindset, preparation, and persistence. Now, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll reflect on the week. Give ourselves some positive affirmations and do a full reset to finish strong. Stay tuned. We've spent this episode talking about conquering giants, facing the challenges in our lives with faith, resilience, and strategy. But before we close the show, I want to take a moment to do something really, really important. Reset. Life moves fast, and if we're not careful, we can carry the weight of our challenges into the next day, the next week, and the next season. But we don't have to. We can pause, breathe, reflect, and reset our minds and spirits for what's ahead. So let's start with reflection. Reflecting on the week, I want you to ask yourself, what did this past week teach me? Maybe you faced a challenge that stretched you, but in the process, you grew. Maybe something didn't go as planned, but it pushed you in a new direction. Maybe you had a tough conversation that needed to happen, or maybe this week just felt like a long one. Because let's face it, some weeks are exhausting battles that just go on and on. Whatever your week looked like, I want you to take a second and acknowledge what you made it through. Sure, it's easy getting caught up in what went wrong, what didn't go expected, or what we wish we would have done better. But give yourself credit for getting through another week. Even if you're bruised, even if you stumbled, even if you didn't show up perfectly, you still showed up. That matters. Now, let's take a moment to release the weight of the week. Whatever frustrations, disappointments, or anxieties you're holding on to, breathe them out, speaking life into yourself. Now that we've reflected, let's speak some truth over our lives. Your words have power, and the things you say to yourself shape the way you move through the world. So let's be intentional. If you can, say these out loud, or just take them in if you're listening quietly. I am strong enough to face whatever comes my way. I am not defined by my failures. I am shaped by my resilience. God has equipped me for the battles I face, and I am ready. Every challenge is an opportunity for me to grow. I am walking in purpose, even when the path isn't clear. And last but not least, I am loved. I am valued. I am enough. If any of those spoke to you, hold on to them this week. Write them down. Put them where you can see them. Remind yourself of them when doubt creeps in. What you say to yourself matters. Now, let's do a final reset. Let's shift our focus forward. Whatever giants tried to hold you back last week, they don't get to define your new week. You are stepping in to a new beginning. I want to close this segment out with a prayer for the week ahead. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us through another week, for the strength you've given us in the battles we faced, and for the lessons you've taught us through them. Lord, as we step into a new week, we ask for renewed strength, for wisdom, and for clarity. God, we pray for peace in the places where we feel anxious, courage in the places we feel afraid, and faith in the places we feel uncertain. Father, help us to see our giants for what they are, not roadblocks, but opportunities to trust you more. Remind us that we don't fight alone, that you go before us, preparing the way. Let this week be one where we walk boldly, love deeply, and stand firm in the purpose you have for us. Father God, we release any stress, any burden, any fear that we've been carrying. We step into this new week with confidence, hope, and joy. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, take this moment, this breath, and step into your week lighter, stronger, and ready to conquer whatever comes next. We're going to take one more break, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up. All right, y'all, that is a wrap on this week's Sunday Evening Reset. We talked about conquering giants, about facing the battles in front of us with faith and resilience. We looked at the story of David and Goliath, broke down what it means to fight the spiritual battles in our lives, and explored how to push through the daily challenges that try to hold us back. And most importantly, we took a moment to reset, to breathe, to release, because we don't just want to step into the new week carrying the same weight we were never meant to hold on to. I really hope this episode has left you feeling stronger, encouraged, and ready to take on whatever comes next. And hey, if this show spoke to you, if you got something from it, pass it on. Share it with someone that needs a reminder, who needs to reset, that maybe needs to be reminded their giants are not bigger than their God. Before we go, let's do one last thing. A final thought to carry into the week. You are more powerful than the giants you face. You are equipped, you are called, and you are capable of walking boldly even when the battle looks bigger than you. But you don't fight alone. God is with you. And that's a game changer. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight for Sunday Evening Reset. I'll see you next Sunday, same time, same place. Until then, stay strong, stay grounded, and keep moving forward. I'm Kyle Fields, and this has been your Sunday Evening Reset.
This show was hosted by Kyle Fields and written by Kyle Fields and Mary Rodriguez. Production and editing by One Love Media. All content is owned and produced by One Love Media. All rights reserved. Like our new Facebook page by searching Sunday Evening Reset or heading to facebook.com/Sunday Evening Reset. And don't forget to check out our other shows. That's Life with Kyle Fields every Friday. The Survivors series every Wednesday. The Members Lounge, our exclusive members-only show. Available for just $5 a month at patreon.com/OneLoveFLA. Thanks for spending your Sunday evening with us. See you next week for another reset.
They said I wouldn't make it. They said I'd fall, but I was built for the fire. I was made to stand tall. Every scar, every lesson, every tear, every fight lit a fire in my soul. Now I'm burning too bright. I hear the echoes of the crowd, feel the weight of the past, but I rise like a legend. This moment's built to last. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle and strain, I'll stand in the line as they scream out my name. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is the year of the champion. Whoa, whoa. No fear, I was born to run. Every doubt, every whisper, every door that was closed, turned them all into power. Now I'm breaking the mold. Ain't no mountain too high, ain't no storm I can't ride. Got a fire in my chest, got the hunger alive. I hear the echoes of the crowd, feel the weight of the past, but I rise like a legend. This moment's built to last. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle and strain, I'll stand in the line as they scream out my name. Whoa, whoa. This is the year of the champion. Whoa, whoa. No fear, I was born to run. Whoa. They can doubt my soul, but I'll break these chains and I'll take control. No surrender, no retreat. I'm a warrior, I was born to lead. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle and strain, I'll stand in the line as they scream out my name. Whoa, whoa. This is the year of the champion. Whoa, no fear, I was born to run. They said I wouldn't make it. They said I'd fall, but I was built for the fire. I was made to stand tall. Every scar, every lesson, every tear, every fight lit a fire in my soul. Now I'm burning too bright. I hear the echoes of the crowd, feel the weight of the past, but I rise like a legend. This moment's built to last. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle and strain, I'll stand in the line as they scream out my name. Whoa, whoa. This is the year of the champion. Whoa, no fear, I was born to run. Every doubt, every whisper, every door that was closed, turned them all into power. Now I'm breaking the mold. Ain't no mountain too high, ain't no storm I can't ride. Got a fire in my chest, got the hunger alive. I hear the echoes noise of the crowd, feel the weight of the past, but I rise like a legend. This moment's built to last. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle and strain, I'll stand in the line as they scream out my name. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is the year of the champion. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No fear, I was born to run. Woo. They can throw their stones, they can doubt my soul, but I'll break these chains and I'll take control. No surrender, no retreat. I'm a warrior, I was born to lead. This is the year of the champion, the time to ignite. I'm taking my shot and I won't miss tonight. Through the blood, through the pain, through the struggle